Okay. Thank you very much for joining the bike committee meeting this morning. And I want to first call this meeting to order. And we will do a quick roll call. Phil Groupie. Here. Miranda Byers.
Here.
Andrew Potts. Andy Potts.
I'm here, but I'm dropping kids off.
Okay. And Joe Maldonado. Here. Okay. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. We've done our roll call. And Don Krim, I would like to welcome you to this group, and we'll give you a chance to say hello to the group later on in the meeting. I want to start the meeting by going off the agenda and recognizing our colleague, Joe Emilkowski, who passed away in mid-December. Joe was a huge biking proponent, both for the city, for senior biking, and then at the end of his, towards the end of his life, he was riding tricycles. So we will miss him on this committee. We want to recognize him and thank him. I'd also like to wish all of you a happy Wisconsin Winter Bike Week. I don't know how cold it is there, but where I am, it's 80 degrees, and as soon as we're done, I'm going for a bike ride. So I wish you all well. We have a quorum. So the first thing that I will ask is for approval of the minutes from October and both December of 22. You've gotten those in your packet. Any questions or comments?
Move approval.
I have a move approval. Is there a second? I guess I can second it, so I'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we're going to move to public appearances for non-agenda items. Is there anybody else, Nick, on the call other than Dawn, who's joined you in the room, and we'll introduce her in a sec? Okay. All right. Dawn, I don't know you, but I've heard a lot about you from my Bike Fitchburg colleagues. So welcome to the meeting. Would you want to take a second, introduce yourself, and you can have the floor?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't hear anything, so are you on now, Dawn?
I think so.
Okay. Can we start again? Introduce yourself to the group and your interest in potentially joining the committee and your interest in cycling, et cetera, all those things.
Well, you have your good friend Andy Potts to thank for getting me to come. I'm an avid biker. I bike with Andy a lot, as well as Joe Maldonado. I am a SHERO, which is a lead for Black Girls Do Bike, which is a national organization celebrating its 10th year. And I've been biking for 10 plus years or so, and I regularly attend festivals and really bike for my own enjoyment and pleasure. I was on the, I think, Bike Ped committee a few years ago when it was just getting started. And now I've returned. I've lived in Fitchburg for 27 years and originally from Philadelphia.
Well, welcome and thank you, Don. That's a great introduction, and we appreciate your dedication to cycling. Do any of the committee members have comments or questions of Don?
This is Andy, if I can just chime in.
Sure.
So as Dawn mentioned, she was on our previous ad hoc bike and ped committee, and she was just an absolute rock star on that. She and Joe Maldonado and Joe Milkowski, who were also on that committee. It was just a great group, and I think it would be just wonderful to have Dawn back again.
Okay. Well, I think, Don, what you can do after the meeting is follow up with Phil Groupie. He's our liaison. If you have an interest in serving, I know there's applications to fill out, et cetera. I hope you don't race with Andy, do you?
No, I do not.
I don't either. I learned my lesson. Okay, we're going to
She's a former D1 athlete, though.
Oh, gosh.
She's selling herself short.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit her up for the Boys and Girls Club ride, Don. I'm on that
Oh,
committee.
I've ridden that ride almost every year. Usually when I don't ride it, it's because I'm out of town.
Well, all those routes you can complain to me about because I've been on that committee for 15 years. Anyway, let's move along. Then I'm gonna turn it over to Phil for the resolution R2223.
I believe we need a motion and a second for that, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry for the resolution or for the minutes. We did the minutes.
No, to approve the resolution.
Oh, okay. So you want to explain it to the group first, or just go ahead and
I
ask
think
for a
that
resolution?
discussion should
Okay.
follow approval.
Okay.
Motion and second. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm entertaining a motion to approve resolution R2223, adopting the 2023 update to the ARPT closure investment plan. And it is in your packet.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
What? No, we don't need a vote
sorry.
yet. Just
Oh,
let's discuss
okay.
it first.
Okay, go ahead, Phil.
All right. Sorry for my voice. I came down with something last week and haven't quite kicked it yet. So hopefully y'all can hear me still. This is a pretty brief overview. We had, I think we discussed last year that the American Rescue Plan Act and a TID district closure in Fitchburg resulted in several $1 million being available for one-time funding for the city of Fitchburg. So the mayor put together his investment plan for how to spend that money. And this resolution is going to be put before council as the vote on the priorities for the city to spend that money.
Okay. And if I recall, wasn't Wayland Road in that plan?
I think that's correct. I haven't looked at the final version here.
I can't look at it given my limited technology here, but I'm pretty sure it was in there. So, okay. So do any of the committee members have questions or comments about the resolution? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion. We've already done that. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Phil, proceed. And you're also next on the agenda for bike events in and around the city.
So I am. Apologies, I don't have the meeting packet up, so let me pull it up really quickly and then I'll do a quick screen share.
Okay, I got it. What's up?
Here we go. All right, so this is definitely not comprehensive. I feel like there was something. Oh, I missed the Fitchburg commuter station that's going on this morning, but just a quick list of the things going on in and around Fitchburg this month and coming up in the next couple months.
Since to save your voice, yeah. Any questions from anybody, or do you know other events we should put in our meeting minutes?
I'll add one. I mean, it's happening right now, but in the Velo Underground, there's the commuter station.
Right.
Is having bagels and coffee and all that for bikers. So.
Yeah, we all got a note about that last night, and Phil and I have been down there before, and so has Andy. So yeah, Steve Arnold's down there, and I'm not probably Don K. Lum, so and Tony Hartman. So again, Phil, and to save your voice, if there's anything else, why don't you just keep sharing your screen? You can go through the rest of the agenda on the screen for us too.
Okay.
Because we're now going to update on projects impacting the bike network. So you're next.
Yeah, I'll just give quick summaries here. Cyan Road continues apace. We're going to finish phase 1, the southern half this year, get into phase 2, the intersection of Cyan and McCoy next year, as well as the northern half. I think last year we basically just got through the intersection around Quick Trip, or here. At Sherrill Parkway.
You're correct.
McCoy Road is finished, the McCoy MM intersection.
Okay.
This pump station, there is a third of 4 planned meetings coming up from MMSD. I can forward that information out to the committee.
And I'm going to add something for the minutes here. As soon as we know what the impact on the detour is going to be and how long and where it's going to go, that's very important that we track that, because there's a lot of folks that use that Military Ridge Trail to get down to Verona and Epic, et cetera. So as soon as we know, because like I said, I'm on the Boys and Girls Club ride, and they're getting concerned. When's it going to be going on? When's it going to be closed? So as soon as we know that, that'd be good. And how long?
Purcell Road, the paved apron triangles were added last fall. That's completed.
Phil, there's only one
Badger State
apron.
Trail.
Phil, there's only one apron triangle. It's on the east side of that.
Oh, just
the
one,
left
okay.
side of you. Yeah,
So
it's on the left side of you, right there. It's not on the other side yet. My guess is they're going to have to redo the road and build it up a little bit. But the other side, the side coming in from Sales in Purcell is done, and it's nice.
I would just add that's the more important of the two.
Correct.
Based on traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Public Works is looking into a TAP grant to fund an underpass under MM to get bikes from Terravesa, this bike trail, up to the Cap City Trail along Rimrock. So we'll find out
wait
in
a
a few
second.
months.
Re-explain that. There's going to be an underpass.
So we've got a current trail on the east side of MM by Terravesa.
Right.
From the Cap City Trail, we're going to bring a paved shoulder, separated bike lane all the way down. And I think they're also talking about an off-road trail, separated trail coming down the west side. So right here, we would need to link the two up. So they're proposing an underpass under MM.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be good. That'll begin to connect the network better to the north end of Madison, and to our new Southdale neighborhood. So that's good. We'll keep us advised on that one. That's a new one to me. So, anything else on your project list?
I think that's it.
Okay. I think I had. We also need to know when you get a chance, or when Bill gets somebody who can link to our group from Public Works. The Lacey Road project going west from Seminole Highway, because that's going to get done
this year.
Yeah, that's going to start this year. So, knowing the ramification on that, so that we're okay there. So again, to save your voice, members have any questions about road projects, or have you heard about any others we should know about?
I don't have a comment on a specific project, but just a suggestion that since we have a new public works director coming in, we could at some point just get a little FaceTime with that person. That would be great.
I think that's a great suggestion, Andy. Phil, would you invite? What is the new public works director's name? I think it's David, isn't it?
Tim Volker.
Tim. See, I was totally wrong. Okay. Would you mind inviting him to our next meeting?
Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
And this is the other slide I was looking for that for some reason I hid this on the.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and the committee members will recall in December we approved with K&L Engineering and Bill Balke an adjustment down there at Capital City Trail intersection with Cyane, right there where it curves, and we did approve. You just approved it in the minutes today, but we had discussed it last December. Okay, that's good. Thank you. Let's keep moving. If you could go to the priorities on the next page, please, Phil. Okay, so I apologize that my printer put this in and scanned it crooked, but we've had, since I've been chair of the committee, we started putting together priorities. I think it helps us stay focused. It helps our city leaders know what we're trying to work on, and if we're missing something, they can let us know. It also helps us think and better work with Bike Fitchburg. So I put these together in December and put them in the meeting minutes. We didn't have a quorum to approve them. We did discuss them a little bit. What I'd like you to do as committee members, if you would take a quick look at them again, And if there are any other priorities that we have missed or anything that shouldn't be in there, again, I put safety up top, and then we went into the bike, the gold, and then we get down into education for our citizens. And I'll talk a little bit more into that under senior things. So, and then you should know the police are going to reinstitute their bike patrols. So I think talking to the police down the road, I'm getting lots of complaints as a biker around the city that cars and bikes are, there's just a lot of stories, and I'm sure you all have them. We need to see how we can better publicize getting bikers and car drivers working better together in the long run. So those are the priorities I put together. I would entertain a motion to approve after discussion. So I'm going to be quiet here and let you go from there. Okay, given it 30 seconds that I was trained to do as a facilitator, I will entertain a motion to approve the bike priorities.
So move.
Moved by Joe. Is there a
Second.
Second. Okay, I have 2 seconds because Miranda and Andy. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, so we have our priorities. Phil, you can feel free to share them with the council. Joe, you can share them with the council. You're our liaison. And be sure that Chad gets a copy of them and the mayor too. So moving along, Phil, do you want to give a B-cycle update? There you go. It's all yours.
Sure. We're discussing getting a phase 1 of our bringing B-cycle of Fitchburg going this spring. Phase 2, as you know, we got a large DOT TAP grant to expand that pretty substantially throughout Fitchburg. So this is our up-to-date list of black is the phase 1 locations we've confirmed. The maroon and green are a mix of the phase 2 expansion sites that we have pretty well solidified or have just kind of begun discussions. So there's a lot more details in the packet here for each individual station, but just kind of given an overview here of the extent of where we'd like the program to be.
And again, stressing how we got to phase 1 as a group. It was the chamber, the city, bike Fitchburg, and B-cycle. And we looked at 1, place to park, if somebody went to. Number 2, the connections to the trail. And then the next group that Phil's got on there will be our phase 2, which gets into equity and access throughout the city. I think when we actually have 2 or 3 more sites identified but not done work on yet. So there'll be 155 e-bikes coming in March to April. There'll be another 55 coming in over the next year or so after that. So this is a good deal, and the city and the chamber and B-cycle are working on a publicity plan. There's been a lot of work go into this, and I think it's going to be great when it comes forward. So again, Phil, thank you for your work on this. I know you got another meeting next week. Is there any questions from the group committee about B-cycle, particularly any places you think we need to consider stations or that we need to be doing differently? Okay, hearing none. Phil, thank you. I'm going to move on to the senior cycling discussion. As we looked at our gold application we just put into the Bike League of America that you'll hear about in a minute, one of the things we've talked about and we've been hearing more and more about is cycling for seniors. And whether it be organized rides, whether it be giving them access to bicycles, whether it be cycling without age that involves the trishaws, just doing more for our seniors. And last year, there was a group from Bike Fitchburg who tried to get something organized to the senior center, and they only had 2 or 3 people show up. So we're going to have a meeting that Andy Potts and I are going to have a meeting with members of Bike Fitchburg and some other interested community members, senior members, about what we can do for senior cycling, how we can come up with some active plans. And in addition, I mentioned Joe Imolkowski passing, who was a senior rider in our community. We're thinking about trying to set up a series of 4 rides to the senior center that will be group led, but they'll be done in Joe's memory. And that's just a thought right now. It's not finalized, but we have a meeting March 1st to discuss it in more detail. So it's on our priorities. It goes into our bike-friendly city, and it gets other members of the community engaged. The other thing that we will deal with is I hope to get Wheel and Sprocket more engaged in our biking activities as well. So I hope we can have them. Andy, you've been involved in some of these discussions. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think the one thing I might just say is, and I'll send a link out to the group, is if you're not familiar with Cycling Without Age, it's just an amazing program. As Mark mentioned, using the trishaws. But I think the one thing I really enjoy about it too is that it's volunteer led in part. So you need people to actually guide the trishaws around. And I think it's just this sort of great connection, not only the like the actual transportation connection, but sort of like that human interaction of different generations getting together. But I have a couple of videos that I can send to the group if anyone's interested.
I would go ahead and do it, Andy. I think it's a great idea. The one thing about trishaws, I've looked into it because Andy had sent this to me, just a thing to think about is as you do this, you got to look at liability. You got to look at who could wear the trishaws are made overseas, and they're $7,000 to $11,000. So there will need to be a plan around this. It isn't like we just go to the bike shop and buy something. So more to come, but it is a great program. And I hope our senior center can work with us to embrace this. So it's going to be a good thing. So if you've got an interest in joining the meeting, we are meeting at Oasis on Wednesday, March 1st at 7:30. I've got a table reserved. So Steve Arnold's going to be there, Tony Hartman, Andy, myself. I think we invited Kay Lum and 1 or 2 more. But if you're interested, it's an open meeting. It's not a bike committee meeting. It's just an open planning meeting on senior biking. So, okay, I'm going to move on off that. And we got reports to the committee. And again, I don't have much to report here other than I'll give my quick update and we'll go from there and get out of here early today. Bike-friendly community. We have spent the 3 years I've been on this committee since 2019. We have spent preparing to submit an application to the Bike League of America to improve our community status from silver to gold. In addition, as a point of reference, Madison is platinum. But we want to work to improve. The mayor's been behind it. Many of you on this committee have been involved in putting this application together. And Steve Arnold and I spent really about 2 months kind of painstakingly putting together an 87-page document. Is what went in. And I think we've got what we need. We will not hear till April. But it went in about 2 weeks ago, which was about, I had a personal goal with Steve of getting it in by the 1st of February. We did do that. So I thank you for your support. It's on our priority list, and we'll see what happens. But I've learned a lot, and I think we've got a lot of community members engaged. We've done surveys. We have worked on this diligently, and you guys have. Some of you have seen a copy of this, and I think it's going to be great as it goes in. So, are there any questions about the bike-friendly community app?
Just 2 quick comments.
Yeah.
First off, just thank you to Mark. You've just done the lion's share of this work, and we're just very lucky to have you working on this project. I think it's a great product, and I'm hoping for gold. But secondly, members of this committee may or may not be seeing an email coming from the Bike League. So as part of their process, they do a survey. And so if you do get a survey from the Bike League asking for your input on the plan, please do respond to it. It's really important that we get a lot of engagement and response to our application.
Correct. And I'm remiss. I also have to thank Phil. Phil was involved in this as well. We pulled him in off paternity leave to give us some information. So again, it was a group effort, and it's one of these things you can't do. The city couldn't have done it by itself, like Fitchburg couldn't have done it by itself. I mean, we had a Chamber of Commerce survey of the business. I mean, it's truly a group effort. So I appreciate you adding that point. I forgot. Phil, do you have anything to add on the application?
I don't. Thanks for all your work.
Okay. Well, again, thank you too. Like I said, we had to pull him in off paternity leave. So I'm going to move on. Joe, do you have any updates from the council?
No, everything's pretty much been covered. I mean, with the ARPA TID plan, I would just encourage members to look through it and provide, any feedback that you have. So if there's, certain things that aren't in there or that maybe need to be modified, I would just suggest that you share that feedback, within the committee preferably, so that we can talk about, any amendments that would want to be made. Just like we went through this process last year, and it's not like the budget where there's like a set cap. This is a suggestion of things that you want staff to continue to work on and investigate. So, there's not a guarantee that all the money that's in there is going to be spent. I think we're about $1 million over what we have. But this is just to say, these are projects that deserve consideration. So again, I just encourage members to look through the ARPA or TID plan that the mayor put out, and submit any feedback either individually or as a group.
Okay. So you guys have Joe's email, or again, get it to Phil too. Now I will add two more to Joe, or one. Joe, one request of you. Will you let the council know that we submitted our bike friendly application, please? 2 weeks ago, when you next have your next council meetings, let them know it's in and we should hear in April. And they may get those requests for, they may get those requests as well for surveys. And if they do, to please fill them out. They take about 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing that I forgot to mention early on and forgot to ask Phil to put on this agenda is that Chad and Mike Zimmerman told me that in their, I think it's coming out through the ARPA, but we're going to hopefully update the bike ped plan in 2024. So Don, the work that you've done before is going to get looked at again. And they'll put money in for a consultant to help go through that. So they did tell me and commit to me that that's going to be the plan to move forward. So that will all go through the council and everything else. So that's a good thing. So Joe, if you have nothing else, Phil, again, I'm trying to save your voice. Do you have any further updates?
The one big staff update, I guess it's not staff, it's another committee that I serve on, the RCC. They're talking about annual events for this year. One thing they're considering is a tour of the stormwater facilities around Fitchburg. They are curious if the bike committee would be interested in joining with them and doing a bike tour of stormwater facilities. I don't know that whether they do this or not is dependent on the bike committee, but I wanted to just bring that offer to y'all and give you a chance to think about it if you might be interested in just partnering on a bike tour with the RCC.
Feedback, folks, to Phil?
What's the expectation that, I guess, of the committee?
Yeah.
That's a great question. That wasn't discussed. They're really just kind of spitballing ideas right now. My guess, and this is just sort of me spitballing, is that it would involve helping to plan out a route. Bike committee certainly is going to have a better sense of where the safe and efficient routes are to travel, and then helping to attend and lead the ride as well, and provide kind of riding and safety tips to participants.
Phil, this is Mark. I'm happy to support. I think the sustainability ride you did 2 years ago was a good thing for our community. And I think that if they want us to work with them, it gets us more engaged with the city, let them know what we're doing and not doing. So I personally, if you need some help, let me know. I can help lead. I pretty much know, like Andy and I think Dawn, and some of the others know the routes around this city, where you can go and can't go, where we don't want to ride. And so I'm happy to help if you need help. If they don't want help, that's okay. But if they do,
Sure.
I'm happy to help.
And the sustainability bike tour was kind of their inspiration for discussing this. I'll see if they want to make it an official joint event, or if they would just be interested in some bikers helping them to get it off the ground. But
Sure.
Yeah.
That'll work.
I'd be happy
you
to
can
help
get
too.
Yeah, so you got Andy and I are happy to help, and we'll twist Joe's arm too. So anyway, okay. I'm going to move on. If Phil, if you have nothing else to report, I'm going to give a Bike Fitchburg update. As we said earlier, the Bike Fitchburg leadership is over at the Velo Underground giving out coffee and bagels. So if you're hungry, go over there after the meeting. But the things they're working on, they set priorities that I'm trying to get from them. I still go to their meetings. Angie Lucas also goes to their meetings, and Joel Mikowski used to attend. But the focus on Bike Fitchburg is their priorities for this year. Pick me up at the border. They're still going to do it. They got some suggestions to modify it, but I don't think they're ready to talk about it more yet. I know they're going to do the same event or maybe something else. We have Fitchburg Festival of Speed, the first Saturday in July coming forward. Bike Fitchburg is also, they need to replace Joe. And that's really what they have going on. They're going to work with us on the senior plan. So they're also looking for a new board member. Because again, Joe passed and they've been down a board member. Tony Hartman's the current president. He says by the end of the year, he does not want to be the president anymore. He stepped in as an interim, and Daryl Jordan is the vice president, and Steve Arnold is the treasurer. So I feel much comfortable that when I joined this committee 3 years ago, that we've got a link with Bike Fitchburg, and I talk with Steve and Tony Hartman several times a week. So we're getting better, and we're working better as an integrated group, all for the improvement of cycling in Fitchburg. So that's the Bike Fitchburg update. Steve asked me to give it, by the way. And then announcements. Do any of the committee members have announcements? Joe had mentioned the ARPA thing, so thank you, or the TID thing, so thank you on that. Any other announcements from the committee? Okay, then I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, folks,
Aye.
It's 80 degrees here. I'm going out for a ride. I'll see you when I'm back in Madison in 10 days. Thank you very much.